Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Money is Emotional podcast. I am your host, Christine Luken. Today's episode is IP for the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur. I am thrilled to welcome my friend and attorney, Shannon Villalba, JD LLM. Shannon is a legal innovator and intuitive business strategist who helps visionary entrepreneurs protect their brands while staying aligned with their purpose. She's the founder of Heartsong Legal and the creator of the Heartsong Chakra framework, which blends smart legal strategy with soulful, energetic alignment. With over 15 years as a business and trademark attorney and as a stage 4 cancer survivor, Shannon brings resilience, brilliance, and heart to everything she does. She's also the host of the Heartsong Entrepreneur podcast and co-author of the book Resilient AF. Shannon has a gift for helping entrepreneurs like us feel grounded. What inspired you to become an intellectual property attorney? And how did you decide to focus on heart-centered entrepreneurs like me?
Well, this is kind of a complicated question. And I might digress a little bit.
That's okay. We love a good story.
So I actually went to art school for high school and college to graduate with a digital media art degree from the University of Florida.
Wow.
And this was back in the 90s. I'm not going to make myself even more older than I am. 90s. Oh, God. Back in the 90s. And so I worked in the music industry. And I was designing websites, doing videos, creating electronic press kits, graphic design, all of that kind of fun stuff for artists like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Fun.
Yeah. So that was my first job out of college. So I got to see firsthand about, about building a brand, right? Because we were helping build the NSYNC brand, build the Backstreet Boy brand. So that was kind of like my first foray into this whole trademark and branding. And as an artist, I totally understood the copyright side of things, especially when I would create things and I'd see somebody else be posting it. I'm like, hey, I created that and you didn't give me credit for it.
Back off, buddy.
Yeah. So... yeah, because we only had a few people in my team, in the media team. And so we were always constantly being pulled into PR and branding and all these kind of business development meetings and stuff. So I really contribute a lot of what I know to those early days, like being an artist and working with other artists.
Yeah.
And seeing the things that they were encountering. So fast forward, I went from Orlando to Los Angeles, worked with bigger artists, bigger things, and then decided to leave LA and go to Ohio to where my parents were because I had left my ex, I had a newborn, and I wanted to start over.
Yeah.
And they were like, you need to run our company. We need help with running our company. And I was like, what? I'm an artist. Not an entrepreneur. I don't know any of this. And they're like, no, you can figure it out. You can figure it out. And yeah, they were right. They had enough confidence in me to help propel me into like where I am today.
What kind of business did they have? I'm just curious.
So they had a property management company. We had to oversee like a huge apartment complex. And so I had to learn a lot about leases and contracts and landlord-tenant law and everything, to the point where I was really looking at helping my parents like avoid some of these problems that they were encountering before. So I learned a lot about landlord-tenant law, and to the point where I even wanted to argue in court one day.
You are a little feisty, which I like that about you.
Right. I wanted to argue. I was like, no, that's not right. That's not what the law says. The judge was like, Mr. Tacolvi, control your client. That was our attorney. And then our attorney turned to me. His name was Mark. And he said, Shannon, you need to go to law school. You keep calling my office. I sent you the law library. You know this really well. You have the intellectual capacity to go to law school.
Yeah.
So it was actually 20 years ago in November of 2005. My son was 3. I decided to go to law school.
Which sounds crazy on the surface, right? I have a 3-year-old.
Right?
Let's go back to law school.
Single mom going to law school.
Oh, gosh.
Right? As a second career. I mean, I had been out of college for like 10 years, and the last courses that I had were all fun. They were studio classes. They were painting, photography, art history.
Yeah.
So, but I said, if I'm going to law school, I'm going to protect people like me who are artists and entrepreneurs. This is where my focus is. Yeah. And luckily, University of Dayton, where I went to school, has a very good intellectual property program there. Nice. I mean, at the time when I went to school, they had tracks. So we're like majors. Mm-hmm. So they had an intellectual property track, and they had some fantastic professors on there that had real world experience. And I was just blown away with them. And I was like, yes, this is where I want to go. And so that's what I did for 3 years, the grind of going to school with my target market.
Yeah.
Who were Backstreet Boy fans and Sync fans.
Oh, gosh. That's funny.
I was like, oh my God, you guys were kids. I'm like, they remembered all of those little videos that I created and graphics and stuff. It was really funny. But, afterwards, of course, when I graduated, the market was terrible. So they said, well, this is what we'll do. Because you were on this track and you have so many intellectual property courses, if we can transfer some of these courses into an LLM for you, which is a Master's of Laws and Intellectual Property.
Wow.
So that's what I did. And so I just stayed on another year. And then through that, I ended up in a virtual law firm. And that was my first foray into being a lawyer, is in a virtual firm. And I loved it because I'm very tech oriented, having, been in that tech industry for my whole career.
Yeah.
As an artist, it was just a natural fit for me. So awesome. Then, I said, and I had gone to law school with the intention of opening my own firm someday. As I said, there's nothing like the freedom of working for yourself.
Yep.
And building something from scratch. And doing that. So that's how I ended up being a lawyer. And, I got cancer and I was diagnosed in December of 2015. Mm-hmm. And so that gave me a different perspective on things, because I had started out as a litigator. And once I had the cancer, that really changed my perspective. I just said, I don't want to be a fighter anymore. I mean, I want to fight with intention, but I don't want to bring other people's fights into my world. I want to be more proactive. So I started on that path of just being the proactive. I want to help people build and protect, because it's so much easier when you're starting out to not know to not know how to do certain things.
Right.
Simple search on the USPTO website to see if somebody else has the same name.
Right. Yeah.
And so I wanted to inspire people and help people, and that's where we are today.
Yeah. Well, many of our listeners have brilliant ideas and thriving businesses, but the world of trademarks and copyrights, it feels overwhelming. Can you explain in simple terms the difference between the two and why both might be essential for our business owners who are listening?
Oh, absolutely. So copyrights are creative expressions. There are creativity that are actually fixed in what we call tangible form. So think of movies and music and books and paintings. Those are all, works of authorship that fall under copyright. So drawings, those. So now let me talk about trademarks. Trademarks are source identifiers, things that put in the mind of the consumer an association with your companies and your goods and your services that you're offering to the public. So, for example, the Nike swoosh. Every time you see the Nike swoosh, you think of Nike. Every time you hear "just do it," you think of Nike. Life is good. Salt Life. You think of all of their goods. You see, the Starbucks logo, you think of coffee.
Right.
That's what a trademark is. So, and a lot of times I get a question about like what falls under trademarks. They can be logos, they could be names, they could be phrases. They could even be distinct things like color, like the Tiffany blue. That's a trademark. Whenever you see that shade of blue, you automatically think Tiffany.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. And, I've got both copyrights and trademarks. And, one thing that I find that people don't realize is that as soon as you publish a book, like if you self-publish on Amazon like I do, as soon as you publish that book, you do have a copyright on that book. Now, you don't necessarily have a trademark of the name of that book, but you do have a copyright. And there is also a differentiator as well, because if you don't register that copyright with the Library of Congress, there's some difference there, right?
Yeah, the statutory rights are different. I mean, granted, copyright is granted at the time of creation. Like as soon as if I draw a doodle, then I have a copyright. The key is registering something of great importance that is like, for example, your books.
Yep.
Your courses. You want to register those with the Copyright Office because then you're granted more statutory rights.
So what do statutory rights mean for
a
layperson?
Things like going after someone for copyright infringement, because when we have a copyright, we have rights such as the right to create a derivative work, which is something that is derived from the original work that uses the original work as the natural inspiration. So, for example, book to movie.
Right.
That's a derivative work. We have the right of public performance, the right of publicity. Those are what we're granted. So a lot of times that people are looking at when somebody has taken their work, for example, like they've taken an excerpt from your book and then they've just posted it out online. Well, without your permission, then you can ask them to take it down because they are infringing on your rights. So when you have it registered with the Copyright Office, you could actually go after them for monetary as well as criminal.
Yeah. Yeah. So when someone's stealing your stuff, and unfortunately, I feel like it is, it's just become so, quote, easy to rip off other people's stuff, in the world of online courses and things of that nature. Let's talk about what are the most common IP mistakes that you see heart-centered entrepreneurs make, and how can we avoid those?
The number one that I always see is not doing a search.
Yeah.
For trademark. And that's something that's so easy that I think that people just don't know.
Yeah.
And it honestly, like, even if you just do a search on Google, like, here's a name that I'm thinking that I want to use for this course or for this these goods that I'm developing. Do it simple. What we call a knockout search would be looking it up on Google, seeing if anybody else is using that name. The second layer would be actually going to the United States Patent and Trademark Office website, which is uspto.gov, and going into their trademark search and just kind of searching there. And then they've made the search a little bit easier for lay people to find marks. So you could go in there and you could say, okay, here's this name that I want to use. And then you can put in like the goods and services. So for example, if you put in a name, say I want to do software, I'm developing software and I want to call it a certain name, then I would type in the name and then I would type in software as a service and then hit search. And then it would bring up anything that might have the same name or close to it. So I can then see, is it worth even pursuing?
Right.
And then, of course, you want to consult with an attorney to see whether or not, this is something that would be available for you to have, because trademarks are legal monopolies. Copyrights are legal monopolies. So it takes a while to get them, but you have these rights that last. Like trademark protection is perpetual. After 5 years of registration, your marks become incontestable. For example, Coca-Cola's marks have been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
And copyright is life of the author plus 70 years.
That's a long time. That is a long time. Yeah. And, we actually just crossed over we're just approaching the 5-year mark for financial dignity. So you and I are in the process of filling all of that stuff out to get that,
Yeah, it's actually been filed. So they just need to get that's the thing with the PTO is it's very slow. So yes, it's already filed. Once they accept the documents, then that's it. You got an uncontestable mark.
Fabulous. Well, I can say from personal experience, working with you has given me such peace of mind.
Dare to enter the Wealthy Woman Book Club, where answers exist to forbidden questions, where women of all ages and income secretly gather, where knowledge is shared, where possibilities are explored, where women claim their power. Dare to stay a spell in the Wealthy Woman Book Club. In this place, we lift each other up. In this place, we start dreaming again. In this place, we see financial miracles. In this place, we grow through the glory and the failure. In this place, we step into a new identity. Dare to champion the Wealthy Woman Book Club. We're creating a future where women are financially empowered across the globe. We're creating a future where our daughters stand on equal financial footing with our sons. We're creating a future where we purchase with our principles rather than price tags. We're creating a future where we use the power of money for the benefit of people and the planet. Welcome to the Wealthy Woman Book Club. Dare to come in, woman. Come in. Join us at wealthywomanbookclub.com.
Can you share how protecting your intellectual property impacts not just a business's legal standing, but also the owner's emotional well-being?
Oh, absolutely. I get this a lot. Because when you have a bunch of things that are unprotected, you're constantly worrying, oh, is somebody going to steal it? Is somebody going to use this name? It just the stress of it.
Yeah.
And it's that underlying stress that perpetuates everything. Like, I know there's something missing. Something is stressful to me. And I don't know what it is. And then they come to me, and then we go through, and using my Heartsong Chakra framework, we go through a strategy session, and I point out, this is what I'm uncovering that you have. It's like we've found all this treasure, and it's like sitting out in the open for everybody to just take.
Yeah.
I'm like, but instead, why don't we build a treasure box for you to put all of your IP into? So then, if somebody wants to come and use it, you can say, hey, you know what? Give me some money so that I can let you use it.
Yeah.
And this is where I see the huge difference between having your IP out there, your courses, your copyrights, your trademarks, all your trade secrets and your trade dress. There's areas of IP that aren't discussed very much. But without these protections, say for example, you have know-how that gives you an advantage in the marketplace. But you're sharing it with everyone.
Yeah.
Well, then all of a sudden you have no competitive advantage.
Yeah.
So you can lock it up as a trade secret through a contract. All of a sudden it's like, oh, we're closed. Only people who are allowed to know this, like the Coca-Cola formula.
Yeah.
That's a trade secret.
Right.
So then you start feeling the difference energetically, even within your body, because you also take bolder risks.
Right.
And bolder steps in your business. I mean, I always use you as a prime example of like being at the top of the Heartsong Chakra framework, because you have protected IP. Your core, your identity layer is so protected. Your core is strong because you have all these trademarks. And you have contracts and you have registered copyrights. So you're at the top of the pyramid where you're now seeing how you can monetize. You have an additional revenue stream from your intellectual property.
Yeah.
And that just brings your vibration up and takes your business to a whole new level.
Yeah. I mean, rather than worrying about, is someone going to steal my stuff? It's like, yeah, let me license you to use this framework or to teach this course. And then, all of a sudden you're making money off of this asset that you've taken years to build up.
Exactly.
So you and I have worked together not only on registering trademarks, but also enforcing them. So for entrepreneurs who are listening who might be afraid of someone infringing on their work, what should they know about enforcing their rights and setting those boundaries?
Sure. So we were talking about trademarks before, and I did want to say that there are different types of trademarks, just to be clear. So you have common law trademarks. These are trademarks that you've been using in association with goods and services, but not necessarily registered, but you've been using them consistently. So you get a geographic monopoly.
Okay.
If you are a senior user using that. I don't want to get too much in the weeds with that, but I just do want to say there's common law trademarks. Then there's also state trademarks. So that's where you can actually register a trademark with your state and you get a certificate. So that's for that geographic area of the state. Then there are federal registrations, and we were talking about federal registrations. These are marks that you're using within interstate commerce. What that means is that you're using it in multiple different states, and you want to have that legal monopoly to use that mark in all of the United States in association with your goods and services, and that's why you register it.
Yep.
That has the highest protection. So when it comes to enforcement, we're looking at what type of mark do you have? Do you have a common law? Do you have a state? Or do you have a federal mark? And this is where it's really important, because if you have a common law mark here in Ohio or Kentucky, and somebody has a mark that they're using in California, you're not going to be able to go after that person.
Yeah.
However, if you have a federally registered mark and they're using it in California, you may be able to go after that person. The reason why I say may is because you have to look at your dates of use. That is a legal question. Well, you can reach out to me if you have questions regarding that. But you often hear about cease and desist letters. And I have horror stories where they didn't do the search. This is why I always say, go just do a search. Even if you don't learn anything from this podcast, do a search. Because I've had people come to me and have received a cease and desist letter. And I said, let's do a Google search. Sure enough, Mark Holder comes up number 1.
Yeah.
Let's do a federal search. Sure enough, Mark Holder comes up number 1. I'm like, well, welcome to the world of rebranding.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, when you do have a registered mark in a particular class of goods and services, you can prevent other people from registering.
And let's talk about that, because you and I have an excellent example of
Absolutely.
I don't know, was it a multi-million or a multi-billion-dollar insurance company that was trying to snatch away financial dignity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were trying to register the financial dignity mark, and the USPTO would not allow them to.
Yeah.
Because it is in the same class with the same goods and services, and you got there first.
And
your mark is incontestable now, so, they can't even petition to cancel it.
Yeah.
And your use is longer. Yeah. So that's why it's really important. Like, you've got a great mark, like financial dignity.
Yeah.
And in my case, I have Heartsong. So I applied for Heartsong in January, and we just went through the publication process. And so there was no opposition. So I am waiting for my registration certificate for Heartsong.
Yay. Yeah. But, if this big life insurance company wants to license my mark, we can talk about that if you're listening.
Oh, yeah. Right. But I mean, how fabulous. I want to talk about like how you felt. Like, you've got these people like over a barrel because you own this.
Yeah. And it was funny because it was like when obviously you sent them the cease and desist. And I want to let people know this. Like, once you get a trademark, one of the best things that you can do is to set up a Google search on that trademark so that when somebody posts something with that exact wording, it pops up, because that's exactly what happened. And they were calling themselves the Financial Dignity Company. And I'm like, that is a clear violation of my trademark. And they came back and they're like, what did they offer? Like $10,000 or something to use it?
$5,000.
And we were just like, haha. Try it. Let's try again.
I was like, I'm not even going to respond to that. Are you kidding me?
I think I told you to respond with 500,000. Like, this is how far apart we are. Especially after I looked up their, their stock mark, because I could see that, and I was like, let's just look up, and I saw their market cap, and I was like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah. No.
No, sorry. Well, let's talk about this. At what stage should an entrepreneur engage an IP attorney like you? Is this something that you need only once you're established, or at the beginning, or does it kind of depend on the situation?
It honestly, it depends, because like some people, and I always say, like, if you have something that's unique, you're not going to be, you're worried so much because you're about somebody stealing it. Whereas if you've got something that's like, oh, whoa, like, I think that other people might attempt something like this, then let's start talking to an IP attorney. Now, granted, I'm always going to say, talk to me from the beginning, because of course, like, putting together an IP strategy should go hand in hand with a business strategy. Mm-hmm. But I understand that people don't always think of that right away.
Right.
So if you're sitting on a bunch of IP, like courses, books, videos, movies, paintings, drawings, music, anything, plus you've got a brand, you need to contact me ASAP. Because, I mean, it's that, like we talked about, like, it's that peace of mind, but also like the revenue strategies. People don't think of that. They think of, oh, IP attorneys are so expensive. I don't want to do this. It's a lot of work. Why should I pay like a whole bunch of money to spend nothing for a year because the USPTO is so slow? Well, let me tell you, a year of waiting is worth having a legal monopoly in perpetuity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, yeah, and it could be something that that my heirs could sell the financial dignity trademark after I die, and they might get $50 million for it.
Right. Yeah. Look at, if you look at some of these musicians who died, or actors who died, who have a whole body of intellectual property, their heirs are, Elvis's kids, grandkids, all of that, know? So, to go back to your question about when they should contact me, it's definitely like, if you have a brand that you're building, it's so much easier to get this stuff done sooner rather than later. Especially because I offer legal alignment sessions. And that is just a strategy session where we go through my Heartsong Chakra framework, and I'm like, what do you want to do with this business? What are your goals and dreams for your life?
Yeah.
So if I know that, then I can reverse engineer and be like, okay, this is what we should be doing here. This is the type of work that you're creating. This is what you need to protect along the way. Because not only are we talking about copyrights and trademarks, we're also talking about trade secrets. We could be talking about trade dress, which trade dress is basically the look and feel. Like, for example, like Bath and Body Works, people were getting up in arms about Cracker Barrel changing their look and feel, So,
well, did not like that. They got rid of the barrel. They're like, what?
I love old-timey Cracker Barrel. Please don't change it. But you understood, because they were like, we want to be more modern. Because, I mean, look at the huge difference between when Pizza Hut changed.
Right.
Like, I miss the buffet, and they had a signature restaurant shape, the hut.
Yeah.
And then they changed. Same thing with McDonald's. McDonald's went from like playlands and kid oriented to like modern. Like, you think that you're walking into a Panera Bread. They got a fireplace in there and everything. I'm like, this is McDonald's? At least the one that's by my house. I'm like, there's a fireplace in here? This is McDonald's? This is not where I used to have parties as a kid.
Yeah. No,
for sure.
Not at all.
So if you think of that, that's what trade dress is. So, for example, Mexican restaurants.
Yeah.
A lot of them look the same, but there are some that look very different, and they need to protect their trade dress.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Well, legal work can sometimes, all the time, feel intimidating. How do you bring compassion and emotional intelligence into your practice to help clients feel safe and supportive during what can sometimes be a stressful process?
Yeah. Well, I will say, I'm not just a lawyer and I'm not just an artist. I also practice crystal healing,
which
energy
is
work.
Why I love you even more. You're one of my crystal sisters.
Right? Yeah, I know. I do crystal healing, crystal work, meditation. I'm all into the woo. And that's why my Heartsong Chakra framework is actually a chakra system for a business.
I love that.
And when I look at clients, I'm looking at you as a whole person. I'm not like looking at you like as, oh, you're just a contract. Oh, you're just a trademark. I'm like, no, you're an actual person like me. Like, when I go back to, I wanted to protect people like me.
Yeah.
And I love human design too.
Me
so
too.
I started integrating it into my practice, and it's interesting because then I can understand that person better and be like, okay, here's your human design. Here are your strengths. Now, how does it transcribe into a business? And how do we focus on your strengths, and how do we get you help? And I mean, I take my counselor title very seriously. I mean, I'm a counselor. I listen to everything. We might talk 20% legal, and then the rest of the time we're talking about your goals, your dreams, your frustrations, your fears, all of that. And I used to have a line of people out my door in the dorm when I was in college, because people would just come in. I'd be like, all right, the therapist is here. Because I like to listen to people, and my strength is problem solving and strategy and breaking norms. Breaking norms like I'm doing right now with the legal industry. Like, you don't see any other attorney talking about crystals, human design, chakras, in addition to contracts and trademarks and copyrights.
Yeah. But I think that is why it is so refreshing that you do, because there are a lot of entrepreneurs who are in more spiritually based, energetically based businesses, and them having that in common with you all of a sudden makes the legal stuff way less scary.
Oh, absolutely. And it's my job to dispel the myth that law is for elitists and it's complicated and everything else. Like, no. I'm going to make the law so much more comforting and easier to understand.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's there it's a protection, and the way that you're approaching it, it's like, this is like the bones that, kind of protect things. But yeah, there's more to it than that. The legal is there to support the whole. It's not just, this one isolated silo of your business, which is really like the old school way of thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're not gonna see me with a suit on with a bunch of scary books behind me and be like, call me now, I'm an aggressive warrior. Granted, no, I'm aggressive warrior in a different way.
Yes, and that's what I love about you. Well, before we wrap up, Shannon, I always love to ask more of a personal question. What's one book, TV show, or hobby that's bringing you joy right now, completely unrelated to law and IP?
Well, I make floral cupcakes.
Yay!
I make floral cupcakes for people with food restrictions or just regular ones as well. I started a new business in December called Kai's Cakery, and it's just cupcakes. And as an artist, I love it. I mean, I love making floral cupcakes. I love baking. I love seeing the joy in people's faces when they bite into it. Like, even people who are like, oh, I can't eat this. I'm like, don't worry, it's safe. There's no wheat, there's no dairy, and there's no eggs, there's all this stuff. Because my son has all these food allergies. And just the simple joy of having a cupcake, and it's just a beautiful cupcake.
Yeah.
And being like, oh my gosh, and like the presentation makes it look like a bouquet and stuff. And so I'm very excited about that little company. It just brings me a lot of joy. And who would have thought that my medium in art school would be buttercream,
Well, hey, you know what? It's definitely much tastier than oil painting. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, Shannon, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom about intellectual property for heart-centered entrepreneurs. Friends, if you are building a business that you love, you absolutely need someone like Shannon on your team to protect your brilliance. Shannon, why don't you tell people, where is the best place for listeners to connect with you and learn more about your work?
Oh, you can definitely connect with me on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find, and I also have a lot of resources on there that I've been sharing.
Fabulous. All right. Well, my friend, this is where I leave you for today. If you enjoyed this conversation, please leave us a review. It helps others to find the Money is Emotional podcast. And if you're not a subscriber yet, What are you waiting for? Just hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified as soon as a new episode drops. Until next time, this is Christine Luken reminding you that you're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people love you, including me. Bye for now.